Well, good morning. Welcome to another RiderCamTV video, and today we have got this, look, the CF Moto 800 MT Sport. Now, MT Moto, emerging bike manufacturer here in the UK. The parts are made by all the big names like Bosch, Brembo. They might be rebadged, but that's where they come from. And this one, it's basically a 790 KTM engine, but look at how smart that is. About £10,000 here in the UK, so really good price. And thanks to Damrils, who do Honda, Yamaha, Suzuki, whole plethora of bikes up at Indian Queens. There's Mark there talking to a customer. They've let us take this out. Looks really smart, and I'm really looking forward to riding this. So let's do it. So nothing on the screen. Look at this, look. Ooh, look at that. Ooh, funky. Look at this. Now, this looks familiar, doesn't it? BMW. Kind of KTM-y. Talk about that while we're riding. So we're gonna go. Oh, God, feels nice. Position, your riding position feels really good. So as we're saying, it's 790 KTM engine, and you'd expect it to be a little bit lumpy, but I tell you what, it's really smooth. Really smooth. God, it's really planted. Really nice. Wow. So, seating position. Love it. Love it. Up, bolt upright. Legs almost feel like 90 degrees. Feels like I'm sat just right. Wing mirrors. Wing mirrors are incredible. I mean, see the size of those wing mirrors. They are massive. Absolutely massive. So let's see what it's like picking up with a bit of speed. Fortunately now everybody and their dog wants to come now. So let's shut this. Right, let's go. See what this goes like. It's fourth gear. See that pickup? Nice. Like that. Yeah, really nice pickup. Up into sixth. Really smooth. I tell you what, really smooth bike. Really planted as well. Feels like where you're pointing it is where you're going to go. And I know that sounds really silly, but on some bikes it's not the case, is it? Now on this screen, it could probably do with going up a little bit for me, because I've got a peaked helmet, and with my peaked helmet it's catching a lot of the wind, which isn't pleasurable. So if I drop down a little bit, it's a little bit better. So there's only a couple of inches that I need. So if this screen doesn't go up, we'll have a look at it in a little bit, but if it doesn't go up any, I'd need some sort of extra screen attachment at the top. But what a good view. I mean, look at that screen. That screen is beautiful, really beautiful. So I'm going to go right down here. Brakes are really good. You can crank it over. Wow, really crank that over. And we're going to go off and find a few twisties, I think. So slow speed maneuvering, really good on this. The weight seems to be really quite nice and planted, which is lovely. But if only he'd indicated a little bit sooner, we could have gone rather than waiting for him. Oh well. Oh, and this one. Right, so now we're going to go. Right, what's it like to turn in? Yeah, really nice to turn in. So, first things first. Seating position, really nice. I feel like I'm in a really nice seating position, upright, like a GSA. Now, I don't feel like I'm stretching to get to the handlebars either, actually. They feel just in the right place, and you see the way that they're angled back. Just nice. And for a 790, now bear in mind I've got a 1250, it's really nice. I tell you what, I'm not getting any vibrations whatsoever through the handlebars or the foot pegs at all. Absolutely nothing at all. So let's get it up into 6th. Now this is in sports mode. You can see by the screen I think is really nice and clear. Not only are you able to see exactly what's going on, you've got all of your obligatory lights down there. So I've got my lights, I've got my spotlights on, which come as standard, funnily enough, and I've got the speedo right in the middle, fuel below that, rev counter around it, gears to the right, fuel to the right, and what mode and the temperature on the left hand side. So that's really nice. Really nice font, easy to make out, easy to see, and it's not obscuring any view of that screen whatsoever. But you can flick this about. I'm not sure how heavy it is, but we shall put all of that up on the cards. Now, one thing I am noticing, it's probably about 12 degrees, look, 12 degrees at the moment, and my hands are a little bit chilly, but that's because there's no hand guards on the handlebars. So you've got kind of no protection, but I'm sure that you'd be able to fit some bark busters or something like that. Now the switch gear, doesn't that look familiar? Doesn't that look familiar? That's because even though CF Moto are making this bike, they also, now I think I'm right in saying they're owned by a company that make all of these bits for loads of different manufacturers, including BMW, KTM, a whole host of different things. If you were to have a look at YouTube, the CF Moto factory tour, they take you through the factory and you can see KTMs everywhere. So they've got a real good relationship with KTM, and KTM apparently are taking over the distribution here in the UK, so it will be very different in terms of distribution, and it will be managed by KTM, so it could be quite a good thing. So we were talking about mirrors. They have got such a good view. There's Mark on another bike that he's test riding. The one thing that I've noticed with the wing mirrors is that they're really loose. Now I say loose, and I mean that when you're manoeuvring them to get them in the right angle and in the right place, they feel very loose. So there might need to be some tightening up in there. I don't know what's going on there, but they both feel quite loose and quite easy to move, almost as if they would move on their own accord. So we'll see how we get on the ride. We've said about the seating position, and it's really comfortable. It's really comfortable. And this model is the sport model. So this model comes with the alloy wheels. The more touring version that they do comes with, wow, look at that bloke, wow. This model comes with the alloy wheels, whereas the touring version comes with the spokes. Now this sport version with the boxes, and we'll show you the boxes a little bit later, they are really nice, even got lining inside them. Just over £10,000 for this bike. I'll say it again, just over £10,000 for this bike here in the UK. Now it seems like you're getting an extremely good bike for £10,000. So coming back towards where you're sat, obviously it's a key. You've got a USB slot on the left hand side, so that's good. You can charge all your USB stuff on there, which is really lovely. Past this guy. Nice. It just flows, this bike. Really just flows. And it feels a really accomplished adventure sport bike, like a GSA. It feels very much like a 750 or 850 GSA in how it looks, how it rides, and you've got the functionality of the boxes on the back, which we'll show you a little bit later. Really, really nice. Really smooth too. Brakes are really good. It's just one of those bikes you get on and you're blown away. For the fact that it's probably about £10,500 as this model is, with auxiliary lights, with all of the stuff like cruise control. It's got a lovely screen, great seat position, KTM 790 heritage, or either the engine that's got their heritage or their history. Really, really nice. It's got a lot of presence on the road. It feels like it's got a lot of presence, which is lovely. So let's just knock it down to 4. Let these cars get away a little bit. Get the right position. Yeah, I mean, look at that. I mean, it's just really responsive. Really responsive. Oh, I've just seen you've got a 12-volt socket. So it looks like you've got a 12-volt socket on the right-hand side and a USB socket on the left-hand side, which is good. Now, even though I'm doing 4,000 revs in 3rd gear, the bike is just not complaining, and it's not vibrating at all. It's really nice and smooth, really smooth. Now, what are we doing? 28 miles an hour and a 30 mile an hour speed limit in 3rd gear. It's really quite responsive to the throttle, but it's not jerky. Really not jerky. It's quite intuitive as to how the speed is applied or taken away with the use of the throttle. I'm not sure whether it's a fly-by-wire throttle, but it does look like it, although there are wires coming out of it. It just feels like I'm riding my 690 Duke in terms of the size. I mean, it's so flickable. I mean, look at that. Just flick it around. I mean, that's just incredible. View around, because of my seating position, I'm able to look everywhere without having my view obstructed by anything. It's really, really good. Brakes, what are they like? Oh, nice. Now, it does dip a little bit on the front, so they are a little bit more spongy than you would expect, or that I might like, but it's got that KTM purr. Can you hear it? And I was right, that wing mirror on my right hand side, you see how it's dropped down? So it's just a little bit loose on that connection, so that would need to be sorted out and just firmed up just a little bit more. And I've done that twice actually. I've gone into and again into neutral, so that's more me rather than the bike getting used to the bike itself. So we're coming up to a 60 here, so let's make sure we're doing 30. So there we are. Right, quick check, see if everything's okay. We're going to get up to, wow. Now obviously this bike isn't going to get up to 60 or break any world records for brake horsepower, speed, to getting up to the speed limit, but I don't think you need to break any land speed records to be able to have a really responsive, comfortable, quick bike. This has got everything. Now, I love my GSA, but the GSA, if you were going to go and buy that from the factory, you're talking like nearly 20 grand for everything, aren't you? 10.5 grand for everything on this bike to do everything that I would do on my bike. Actually, it's a bit of a no-brainer. Now, the engine is a KTM 790 made by KTM, slapped right into this bike. The brakes are made by Brembo, they've rebranded. The electrics are all Bosch. So these people are not using Chinese manufactured unnamed things. They are using things, let me just open my helmet. They are using components and parts for this bike that we all know of, that we all trust with the names. There we go. The only thing that I don't really like is the right. So there's two things. So for some reason it doesn't like going into second gear at the moment, so that might be something to do with how I'm riding it or how I'm trying to ride it. So that would annoy me, but I think it's probably the way that I'm riding it is why it's not going straight into gear straight away. Although I'm not riding it any different, I don't know. The other thing is that mirror, it keeps dripping down, so that needs to be tightened up. But the other thing is the switchgear is really nice, really good clicks and switch presses. However, the indicator is really floppy, and by that I mean when you're indicating and you go to cancel it, you're unsure that it's been cancelled because it's really floppy, and it's really got a kind of dead feeling to it, if that makes sense. It's got a nice feel when you use the indicator, but when you go to cancel it, it's got like a little bit of a dead feeling, as if you're pressing against something rather than it pressing against it and clicking. But for an all-rounder bike for 10.5 grand that will do everything that you need it to do, touring wise, adventure bike, they've got that model as well. Actually, it's a very nice bike. Very spongy. Very spongy. I'm not sure what you could do with that, but this screen has got loads and loads of stuff on there, so we're going to park up and we're going to talk about the bike. Hello, welcome to another RiderCamTV video, and today, don't go out yet Mark, we have got something special. So you know that we've been doing CF Motos and we've done a couple of them. We are lovers of CF Motos.
Oh, we like CF Moto.
Really nice. We're going to tell you why, but have a look at this bad boy. This is the 800 MT Sport. Now, does this not look like an 850 GSA, 750 GSA, 1250 GSA? Doesn't it look smart?
It looks like a baby GSA, mate, like I used to have.
It does. Now, this is really quite special actually, because Mark, on your last video of the MT Motos, you were saying that people seem to be overlooking these models because they're like, oh, this is a Chinese, mate, or where's it come from? Everything on here is made by them for the premium brands that you know, and they've incorporated premium brands on here. So look at this, look at that. What's it look like?
What's that engine then, mate?
It is a 790 KTM engine. Just that is their engine. So people buy KTMs. Oh, I'll never buy a CF Moto. Why not? It's got a KTM engine.
Awesome.
Now, look down at the wheels, Mark.
I'm looking at the wheels.
These things here, now, Chez Juan, are Brembo brakes, just rebranded. Brembo brakes. Aren't they on all the racing bikes?
Aren't they on BMW?
Oh, yeah. Come round here. Look at these. What does this look like? And what does this look like? Oh, very BMW-esque.
It looks like a very old style BMW.
You know why?
Why?
Because they make the switchgear for BMW.
Get behind the clothes rail.
I know. Look at this. Doesn't that look like BMW? Oh, I wonder why. Then pan out to here. What are these?
They're called panniers, mate.
Panniers. They look very much like Touratech boxes, and they're very nice. Apart from being very thin, very small compared to what we're used to on our GSAs, the workings of the it's just it is. Oh, I love it.
We have to
look at this though. Look.
We're gonna have to do a sniff test. You were just very odd.
Now, these are actually lined. They've got a Velcro all the way around it, but this is like velour.
Velour?
Like velour.
Velvet.
Oh, it's so smooth.
Jazz.
Yeah. I feel very overdressed, jazz hands. Very overdressed. But, I mean, look at the quality of those. I mean, they've even got a rubber seal inside there to go over the nib to keep them waterproof.
They are Ali boxes.
They are aluminium boxes.
Not plastic made to look aluminium.
No. These we can't find anywhere that's got stamped inside Touratech, but a friend of mine's got a Ducati Multistrada, and his boxes look exactly like this, and they're Touratech. So chances are they are Touratech boxes. So you're getting quality.
On the last one of the bikes we did, I can't remember which one it was. There was a 600, I think. It was like an adventure type bike, and they had shad panniers that came as standard. So maybe Shad have done these, I don't know. But they look Touratech-y.
And look at that. You actually get a carry handle as well. What other makes of boxes do you get carry handles? Not even on the Boomot, not even on the BMW, unless you spend extra money.
I was going to say,
look at that.
BMW have those massive big handles.
And they still got the tie-down straps. And they're not afraid of putting their name on it. CF Moto, what's it say? Experience more together. I'm quite selfish.
No way!
If this was my bike, it ain't nobody else's. I'm enjoying it on my own. So I'd scrub that bit out. I'd experience it on my own. Anyway, right. So you can see that I'm quite excited about the bike.
What do we know about CFM though?
I don't know. What do you know about CFM?
Haven't they gone into collaboration with KTM?
Yes.
And if you go on their video tour around their factory, all you can see is KTM bikes.
Yeah.
Because they do it for KTM.
And they're taking over the distribution of CF Motos in the UK.
So hopefully we'll get some to ride, eh?
Yeah. So the seating position. This seat is so comfortable. It's really wide. If you have a look at it, Mark, it's really, really wide.
Let
really
me do the
low.
So that's 9.5. Probably about 15 inches.
Yeah. Now I've got quite a petite bottom. I know you're all thinking.
I was going to say something else then.
Well, lardy ass.
Yeah.
But it's really comfortable. It's really thin, but it's really comfy. It's almost like memory foam. That's how it feels. I was sat right up against that. Really nice, profound seating position, really. And I was sat upright just like the 1250 GSA. So with the handlebars having this angle and angle towards you, I didn't see the need for any up and back risers or anything. It's just in the right place. Felt perfectly 90 degrees all the way through my body. Really
The pillion
comfy.
seat is big as well, isn't it?
It really is, isn't it? And it's got CF Moto there. CF Moto on the pad, on the pannier that comes with the panniers, unlike BMW that you've got to spend extra money on these
I think they're
pads.
70 quid if you buy it from BMW.
Yeah.
At least 70 quid.
Yeah, they are expensive.
And that's exactly the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's even...
Yeah.
Anyway.
They probably make it for BMW, I don't know. Anyway, so 790 engine. It looks really, really nice. And this is the sport version. So the difference between the sport version and the more touring version is the wheels on this one are alloy wheels. And the touring version has spoked wheels. Everything else is much the same. The styling, I think, is really quite good. At first glance, when you're looking far away from it, it looks
far away.
Yeah, it looks like it's an adventure bike. Then you get up to it and you think
Let's just
it's
do
a
that.
smaller adventure bike. But where you're sat and all the controls in the cockpit are just in the right place. They're really, really good.
This looks and feels like, I had a brief sit on it before you rode it, the 850 GSA.
Yeah, and I was riding along. I think I said on the ride here, it feels very much like an 850 GSA. So if you've got one of those, you're at home on this. I felt at home on this, having come from the 1250 GSA. You can notice that it's a lot lighter. It's so flickable, it's unbelievable. The power delivery is really smooth. And I've always thought KTM engines are a little bit lumpy. Probably get shot now, but felt a little bit lumpy. I've always had the feeling that they felt a little bit vibey. This bike, KTM engine, no vibes through the pegs, handlebars. I know there's rubbers on the pegs, but no vibrations at all. Power delivery really smooth, really smooth.
Cool.
So, should we have a look at this?
Before we do that,
Stuff.
though, let's look at the styling of the tank. Okay. You can see this big cutaway here. It's right behind all this bracketing, the engine bars.
Yeah,
That's fantastic weather protection.
it is. It is.
I mean, it is my GSA, my 850 I thought gave me better weather protection than the 1250.
It might have done.
It might have done,
Might
because
have done.
I've been out in some hideous weather in it. Obviously, I've got a 1250 now, but That looks really cool.
It is.
But they've done some special things with the styling, haven't we, as well?
Yeah, we'll get onto that in a minute. Right, so it's a keyed version. I like the keys because when the engine's running, you know that the keys are in there and you haven't forgotten them, unlike the keyless. So turn it on and look at all this. Look. Dun dun dun. How special does that look?
Now that screen could be on any premium price bike, couldn't it?
Yeah, and you've got everything you need. You've got the temperature of the engine, you've got your obligatory stuff down here, you've got your mode, your riding mode.
It has riding modes?
Yeah, it's got riding modes. You've got your, what's that?
That's called a rev counter, mate.
The rev counter, that's it. Speedo in the middle, how much fuel's left. You've got a fuel indicator on the left. This is where you see your gear indicator. Really, really nice. Then you've got your trip and your temperature and the time. What more do you want on there? But I bet there is more. There is. What you really need is this, isn't it? And I know that people think, oh, you're a bit anal talking about fonts and things. That's really easy to see. Really easy. So on the switch gear here, on the left-hand side, there's a myriad of buttons.
A myriad?
So to change stuff, it's not as intuitive as I would have thought. Having a whizzy wheel would be better, but you can go into, if I press set, it will take me into the information, and then you've got to press up and down, but you've got to press and hold them to get to the next thing, and then you can set your modes and your connections, your information, your trip reset, brightness, units, time, all that.
You can read it in Chinese.
You could, and you can reset it all. What else has it got? Navigation. So this screen, this bike, allows you to connect to it and have some navigation on it. Now, we're not going to try it because we don't want to faff about and connect our phones to it. But the fact that for £10,500, mind you, £10,500 in the UK, £10,500.
All this?
Yeah.
Panniers, that?
Yeah.
That's outrageous.
So you can do navigation, which also adds your phone, because you'll have that there, so you can make and receive calls, you know, like we would on any other bike, and then you're back to your information. So it's got everything. Shall I try the horn?
Go on. It's a horn.
It's a mini.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would uprate that to a sound bomb, without a shadow of a doubt. But what are the lights like on the front?
Let's go and have a look.
Does that not look like an MT1100?
It might be dazzling the screen here now, so I'll have to sort of angle this, but yes, it does. It looks really cool. And what are those?
They are, well, they got fog lights on there, so what I would do is I would angle them down and use them as riding lights.
Yep.
But look at how they're situated. Now, every other bike is an add-on. It looks like an afterthought, even though you get used to that afterthought. These are actually sculpted inside how they've made the bike.
They're really keen.
Yeah.
Really cool.
What about the backlight? What's that like? Because I've not seen that.
The backlight?
Oh, look at that.
It's like a...
That's really nice. And you've got good indicators on the back. LED all around. You know, it gets better and better with this bike, doesn't it?
And the indicators aren't on all the time, and they haven't got like the stupid BMW ones that have got your indicators inside your stop lights.
I know, and I keep asking BMW, and all they say about that is, sorry, we can't do anything. So am I going to then have to get an easy can and then extra lights to put on it? I just don't know. I can't find anything on the forum. So if you know, let me know. There are a couple of downsides to this bike that I found. When I was riding, 2 or 3 times I'd change from first up into second, and it would flip back into neutral, and I had a bit of a bother getting it into second.
Maybe that's because you've not been riding it very long.
I think it's because I'm not used to how much pressure I've got to put on it.
And those huge feet you've got.
Oh, they're dainty feet, much like my bum. And the other thing being is that the switch gear is really nice, apart from the indicator. Now, indicating, turning it on, you got a really nice click. But turning it off, even though the click's there, when you've got your gloves on, it feels like you're pushing against nothing and you're not getting any feedback. So I've had to double check that I'm pushing it in. It feels very spongy. Other than that, love it.
What are the mirrors like though?
Mirrors are brilliant.
They're big mirrors.
They are really good.
What they came off?
They look like a V-Strom, don't they?
Probably.
But it needs to be tightened up there. It's a bit loose, but that's not the manufacturer's problem.
Nice size though.
Yeah, really good size.
View.
Really good view, really good view. So what have we got on the bike? We've got all of the technology in the screen and on the bike, Bluetooth, navigation, answer phone calls, all that jazz. We've also got 12-volt socket, not one of those proprietary things that other manufacturers put on, actually a proper decent one, so you can go to Halfords and buy your cigarette lighter thing, can't you?
For those that smoke while riding.
Yeah. This one, 2 USB sockets with a really nice rubber seal that fits over the top of it, and you get a really nice screen. Screen for me needs to be about that high, only because I've got a peak, but I like to ride with my visor open all the time, so I'd have to get an extension on there, because this is activated or worked by undoing 2, and it just slides up and down, so it couldn't be easier. Obviously you can't do it when you're riding along, and I think that's really good, because you've got to stop.
People moan about that. They say, oh, you know, you should have a one-handed operation. How many times do you alter your screen while you're riding?
I don't ever do it.
My screen's set for me.
Yeah, and if you need to do it, you're taking your hands off the handlebars, you're not concentrating on riding, you need to stop. It's quite obvious, isn't it? Lights are really lovely, brakes are really good, the frame's really good. The only thing about these bikes, because the styling is just, I think it's awesome. Really, really out there, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I like it.
The only thing with CF Moto is how will the longevity of how it's made look in a couple of years' time. I think they'll be all right. We've got KTM parts on there. This feels like really good stuff. You're going to look after your bike anyway, aren't you? You know?
I think it looks really smart.
Yeah. But look, would you need to get a fender extender on that? It's quite low.
It is quite low.
There is a bit of dirt on there, so perhaps you would be.
Exhaust looks nice though, doesn't it?
It does.
I don't like these chromed ones like we have on our BMWs, because they just go crap.
Yeah. Yeah, they do.
I'm not bothered with chrome. I don't want to clean my bike.
Well, that's quite evident. But I really, really like the bike. It's a chain drive. You know, it comes with all the things about chains, but because Mark has had his 850 GSA for a while, we've kind of got over our fear of chains, haven't we now?
Yeah, I've got, like I say, my 850, I got rid of it for lots of reasons. The chain was not a problem for me in the end. It was an engine issue that I had.
Yeah. Only thing it hasn't got is a centre stand. I don't know whether you can get a centre stand as extra, but if you can hold on to that, Mark, I'll show you how these boxes come off.
Ah. If you take that one off, we'll be able to look at the exhaust.
Yeah, now, one connection, much like the Boomot way, really, you go over and hook it down, but it's really, really smooth to open.
Only opens one way?
Only opens one way. But this one, oh, I need the key. Comes with its own little key. Now, same with all these boxes, the keys are really small. They're not, you know, wouldn't it have been nice to have had it on the same key? But you unlock it, obviously, and then you just literally open that bracket, pull it off, put it back. Look at that. I mean, look at the amount of connections that you've got. You've got 2 on each side, 2 bottom, 2 top.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah.
Don't put it back on though. I just want to say something about the exhaust. What do you think about that?
I think it looks quite nice.
Whose exhaust does that look like?
KTM?
KTM, bit BMW, isn't it? On the end.
Yeah. Very, very smart. Very smart.
And they've got a cover over it.
Yeah, and they've got a bit of a hugger down there. I don't know whether you can see it, Mark, inside. It's a very short one, but it's a bit of a hugger. All the frame comes with it.
See, that's amazing. It looks. If I was to look at that from the back, I would say that was a BMW frame, just a bit smaller, perhaps.
With a KTM engine in it, Bosch electrics, Brembo brakes, all the big names that we love and trust.
What do you think of the colour?
I really like the colour.
Whose colour does it look like?
I don't know. You're going to tell me that.
BMW's new trophy colour.
Oh yes, so it does. And these were out before the trophy. But I do like their sprinkling of different colours and stuff, their logo, you know, all that sort of stuff. And the thing is, you can buy any motorbike for a lot of money, can't you?
Of course you can.
You can spend 20, 30 grand on a motorbike.
Easy.
everybody, especially at the moment where people are really feeling the pinch. I'm not going to say crisis, because everything in the news is a crisis, isn't it? But where people haven't got money to spend on stuff, but they still want to be able to go out and do something. This is half, or just over half the price of a BMW GSA 1250.
And it all comes fitted.
And it's all fitted. It all comes as standard, and you've got all this good stuff like LEDs, indicators that people can actually see. Take note, BMW. You know, really lovely lights at the front, a good screen, good mirrors, good switchgear. But all what I'm trying to say is all the stuff on this bike is stuff that we've been used to on other bikes forever. They've just decided to make their own bike. So I would say brilliant.
Now
bike.
CF Moto are, I cut you off there, mate, sorry about that, but CF Moto are huge with off-road vehicles, 4x4s, little quad bikes, things like that, and they've gone into this area of manufacturing, and I think they're going to do really well.
I think they are. You know, £10,500 sounds a lot of money for a bike, but this is brand spanking new with no miles on it, with luggage, all of the bells and whistles, the reliability of a KTM engine, all of the Bosch stuff, all of the stuff that we know and love, with all these extras. You know, that would be 50, 60 quid extra with BMW or on Nippy Normans. It comes with the bike.
It just looks really nice, doesn't it?
It does. It does look really nice. I've really enjoyed riding this. It must come with a centre stand. That must be where the centre stand connects to, if you have one. Must be, mustn't it?
Yeah.
I think they're really, really good bikes. I think you're going to see an awful lot of these around. I'd like to take one on a tour and see what they're like, because I think the trouble with bringing a new brand out is you've got to get the reliability in people's heads, haven't you? You've got to get that trust in people's heads.
Absolutely.
And that's,
people have to see them out and about, though.
yeah. But this is very futuristic with all of these nice touches, lovely seat, all of the stuff that we've talked about. I really, really like it. Give them a chance. If you're looking for an adventure bike or a touring bike, go out and have a test ride on one. I think you'll be very, very surprised how this rides, how it feels, what you feel about a bike that hasn't got a brand name that is well known. So, I like the bike. Would I get one? Yes, I would get one. Unfortunately, I've got my 1250. That's going to have to wait another couple of weeks till I put another few thousand miles on it. But I would not be afraid to have one of these bikes, and I think it'd be great. So if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Check it out at your local dealers, and thanks to Damrels and all the people at Damrels for letting us take the bike out. Thumbs up, subscribe. We'll see you in the next video. It might well be on this one.